Yeah, hi everybody. Welcome to our CMAP live stream or mortgage live stream or equity relief live stream. Depends where you're coming from, really. When it comes to welcome from Cheltenham, lovely morning, September. Things are looking great weather-wise. Not so great in other ways. Depends where you're coming from, really. We're well into a big recession right now, but the mortgage market, the housing market, seems to be booming. I think it's government-led, subsidy-led. With the stamp duty, it's kind of tickling things along nicely. We've got an interesting autumn coming up in this country and in the world, of course, as well. Hope you're well. All good here. Enjoying the world as it is, out and about at the weekend, which is great to see, isn't it? Got a few topics for you today, which is going to help you. We've got an update for you on ISAs, because the new syllabus hasn't changed yet according to the LIBF, but the CI have changed theirs. So we're going to kind of update our material as we go along in the next few weeks anyway. But you'll still be tested on the old tax year. But then again, the rates haven't changed very much anyway. But enough of that. So let's get on with some of the things we've got planned for you. Now, a lot of people actually talked to me during the week about networks, and people are saying to me, look, what should I do, Paul? Which network should I join? And of course, it's up to you what you do there, and you've got to do your due diligence. And one person was asking for advice, and I said, well, look, you've got to do your due diligence. He said, well, there's so many of them. He said, there's networks that are cheap, there's networks that are expensive, there's principals that charge me this, charge me that. And I said to him, two things, and this is the sort of title really of what I'm talking about here now. Networks is where we're coming from. Or principals, I'll call them, because they are merging into one now. Because as you know, with mortgage world, if you want to become a mortgage advisor, you've got to link in with somebody, either an existing advisor, mortgage company, or a network in order to get your CAS. And you have to link in and pay them money. But I said to him, I said TAB comes to mind, TABB, and you get what you pay for. Get what you pay for. And these two principles, of course, are relevant in all aspects. But TAB's a lovely one. There's always a bigger boat, is the phrase. Got that from a guy called Alan Weiss in the US. Really good phrase. There's always a bigger boat. Now, I've never owned a boat, but if you do own a boat, there's always somebody with a bigger boat than you. Even if you've got a yacht, Roman and Brownrich, these people got these yachts to go around the Mediterranean. There's always a bigger boat. So if you go for one particular network, there's always somebody bigger and shinier and bigger than you. It doesn't really matter. There's always something better over the horizon. That's really the key to that one, isn't it? And you get what you pay for. And that's the case with networks as well. So be careful with the network. There's lots and lots of little cheaper ones coming in now. There's lots of small firms who are broker firms who think, well, anyway, let's expand here. Let's get some self-employed dudes in here. Let's become a pseudo network, or let's become some kind of sort of marketing firm or something like that, like a franchise or something. Bring people in, and then we can upscale really quickly. But they don't have the critical mass of members or the infrastructure behind them to offer what you're looking for. So you've got to be very careful with the cheap ones, because they're cheap for a reason. You get what you pay for. So when you're searching for your network, make sure you look at a number of things. You've got to do your due diligence. You've got to check them out. Look for things like the directors. Go onto Companies House, search on Companies House for the directors. Find out who they are. What's their background, where do they come from, what's their experience, because it's often the directors that run these firms, and they're the people that will stay or not. Head on to the FCA website, see what they say about the firm, see how regulated they are, how many AIs they have, how many authorised individuals they have as well in the firm. Have a look at the existing members of the network. Try and get permission to talk to some of the members to find out what they think of the network as well. Many networks are happy to go on to these review sites to tell you more about what their members think of them as well. Go onto Companies House, dig out their accounts, because obviously these things are public, aren't they? Have a look at their accounts, see how long they've been trading for, see how profitable they are. Have a look at their income streams, their revenue. Do they have a variety of revenue streams as a business, bringing the money in as well? What are their costs? What tech do they have? What's their sourcing software like? Because they do vary, and they will provide you with sourcing software, so make sure you get the right one. There's a new breed coming in, like your 27 Tech, those sort of things, much more robust, much more relevant for the complex market. So take a look at what they're offering there for you. Have a look at their culture. What is their culture? What are their beliefs and values? Not what they put on their website. Everybody has posters. These are our values, and no, they're not. When you get under the hood, find out, talk to people, find out what the culture values of the firm are. Have a look at their T&C operations, their training and competence. How much coaching do they provide? Do they provide supervision? Do they provide coaching? Do they provide mentoring? Or do they just say they do, and they'll give you somebody that's so busy they can't contact you anyway? And how quick is it to become CAS? Are they looking at online video-based meetings with clients, or are they still in person as well? Check out the files. How many complaints have they had registered against them as well? So there's lots of due diligence you can and should do as well before you move into any network itself. Now we've got a couple of conduits here which I've set up with networks, so contact me if you want some help on that. Happy to help you with that one. So that's a little bit of an update for you on networks. Hope that's been useful for you. Okay, let's get into the main topic of our live stream today, and that's ISAs, and I'm calling this the family of ISAs for you. So let's update you on this topic, shall we? Hi, let's take a look at an update for you on ISAs. I'm going to give you a few minutes now, probably about 10 minutes or so, on ISAs, what they are, what they do, etc., just to get you up to speed with the latest tax year. Now I've called this the famous 5. Now I don't know about yourself, we're talking about here at ISAs, of course, individual savings accounts, but I'm calling this the famous 5. Now the famous 5 is because there's 5 ISAs now, which is why I've called it the famous 5. And ISAs, of course, the famous 5 is a book by Enid Blyton, a series of books actually, about people like George and Julian, and they have adventures. It's all pre-social media and all that palaver. And they go off on islands, and they have a dog called Jimmy, I think, and they have a great time called the famous 5. Very 1950s, early 1960s. And they go off and have picnics, and they find baddies and all sorts of things. But anyway, that's why I've called it the famous 5. So let's take a look at different types of ISA then. There are 5, as I mentioned to you. Let's get those in black for you. The first type of ISA for you is known as the cash ISA, which has been going around since TESAs were abolished many, many years ago. Then you have what's known as the stocks and shares. Let's put that one down here for you. The stocks and shares ISA. There you go, shares ISA. Then we've got the innovative finance ISA. Innovative, there you go, finance ISA. That's a bit of a word there for you, isn't it? Then we've got the GISA. Let's put the GISA down here for you. We'll sneak that one in for you. And then over here we've got the lifetime ISA, or what's known as the LISA, because these have all got their lovely little acronyms, haven't they? And there are your famous 5. Let's talk about these and get some of the detail out for you as well. First of all, ages. How or what age can you get into these things? Well, you've got the cash ISA, which is 16 plus. You've got the junior ISA, which is less than 18. So you can have one for your little grandchild that's just been born if you want to on the junior ISA. Less than 18 is when you open the account on their behalf, of course. When they're 16, it then goes into their name effectively. The child then controls it, and they can then withdraw the money at age 18 and transfer it to a cash ISA or stocks and shares ISA. But it's essentially for juniors, really. That's the junior ISA. And stocks and shares ISAs are 18 plus, of course. You're looking there at contracts as well, which of course is the same for these guys as well. And the LISA is the same as well. That's 18 plus, but they have a maximum of age 40 with the LISA, less than 40. So that's contributing to the LISA. We'll come on to that in a bit more detail for you. So there's the age to start with for you. Different colour pen for you. What about tax breaks then? The whole point about the individual savings account is you get some tax advantages, otherwise it's pointless doing it really, isn't it? And these things of course are brilliant. So on the cash ISA there's no tax on the interest. Let's just sneak that in for you, because that gives you interest of course. That's also, you get your £1,000 relief against interest on cash deposits anyway, but this is completely exempt from that one. By the way, you don't have to do any notification to HMRC of any of these things. These are completely exempt as well. And on stocks and shares, of course, there's no tax on dividends, because stocks and shares give you dividends. the Innovative Finance ISA. These have no tax as well. These are slightly different because these are, we'll talk about these in a bit more detail. These are products which allow you to invest in peer-to-peer lending. We'll come on to that in a minute for you as well. Looking at tax breaks here. No capital gains tax on these things as well. Capital gains tax on owning stocks and shares. Obviously no capital gains tax there as well. Same with the junior ISA. Junior ISA can invest in both cash and stocks and shares, so they have the same tax breaks as well. And no CGT if there's any involved in that one as well. Now the LISA, it also gives you the same tax breaks, of course it does, but the LISA gives you an extra government bonus of extra money, so I'm kind of keeping this in the tax break as well, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail in a second or two, which is great. So that's your tax break, so all in all pretty much tax free. Not as good as pensions, because pensions of course give you tax relief as well, but the LISA gives you a government bonus of extra money on top of the tax breaks as well. Contributions come next, so let's get a different colour pen. Let's go for a red pen for this one, shall we? Contributions. Now the big figure of course is £20,000 now, so it's 20k split amongst them all. There you go, 20k as well, 20k on that one. That one's different, come on to that in a second, and GISA is different as well. So 20k is split amongst all of them along the one as well. The LISA is £4,000 per annum. By the way, this 20k is per annum as well, of course. Put that in there so you know where I'm coming from. The LISA, the most you can put into that is 4,000. Because the whole point of that one is you're saving money towards a house purchase or your retirement. That's where that one comes from as well. These are in the tax year, of course, so April to April. The GISA, the junior ISA, just happens to be, I don't know why they've gone for this figure, 9,000 is the most you can put into that one. But I guess little Johnny grandchild doesn't need so much money saved up, probably the ring. You can withdraw and then top up again. The cash ISA is the best one here, of course. You can take money out of the cash ISA and then add it back in again if you wish to, which is great. The stocks and shares, it's difficult to take money out regularly because it's not designed to do that. You know, we're talking here about stocks and shares as opposed to cash. So you can do that pretty easily as well. You can inherit an ISA as well, which is good news all around. So if you were to die and you give your ISA to your spouse, they can inherit it from you and they would then receive the amount of sorry about that, a little bit of a noise going on in the background there. So they would actually inherit your ISA limit for that period of time. So if you've died and you pass on your ISA to your spouse, they would inherit that limit for you. So that's something to think about as well. Let's look at investments next then. So let's pick up on blue again here. Let's take a look at investments for you. Now the cash ISA is available from banks, building societies, national savings do one as well, credit unions do one as well. The stocks and shares ISA is from unit trusts, OICs, basic stocks and shares if you want to as well. You can also have share save schemes that you've saved with your employer, and those allow you then to transfer into a stocks and share ISA. Individual shares as well you can put into that one, which is pretty good, isn't it? LISAs over here, the LISAs, these are cash or stocks and shares, so you choose where you want to invest your money, which gives you GISAs are the same, so that's cash or stocks and shares as well on that one as well. Now the Innovative Finance ISA is slightly different because we're talking here about peer-to-peer lending or peer-to-peer investing, which we talked about before. We have videos on that topic. Here you have, rather than a bank, you have a website platform and you have customers. And there's two types of customers they have. They have customers who lend them money effectively. Then they have customers who borrow money from the peer-to-peer platform. So it's very much internet-led. And of course you can lend the peer-to-peer platform money and you earn interest from that one. And that's of course where the Innovative Finance ISA comes into its own. So that's something to think about. You can also do crowdfunding as well, based around the peer-to-peer model, but crowdfunding debentures, which is very similar things really. Because you're lending your money to a peer-to-peer lender who will lend your money to people who want to borrow it. It's quite risky In fact, you might have heard some stories recently about a few going out of business, so be careful of those. It might be a great tax break, but the actual investment itself is not very robust. So that's investments. Withdrawals come next, so let's get a green pen for this one. Let's talk about withdrawals. Now, you can withdraw your money any time from a cash ISA, and you can withdraw your money from a stocks and shares ISA, so that's no big deal. And of course, you can withdraw from these. The GISA is different. These ones you have to wait until you're 16 for the kiddywink to take control, and then you can take your money out at age 18 for the GISA and then transfer it across if you want to. So you can withdraw your money, no big deal at all whatsoever. The big exception to the rule are leases, and withdrawals on that one are a little bit more complicated. So what we'll do now is take you through the topic of leases now to give you a bit more of an update, because that's the ones you tend to get a lot of questions on in the exam. Now, the lifetime ISA pretty much replaced the old Help to Buy ISA, which was phased out in 2019. You might still have one, and that's fine, my kids have. But the LISA now is the new kid on the block, if you like. Now, the whole point behind the LISA was that the government wanted people to save money, because the government always wants people to save money. So they gave the incentive of a pension and or house purchase. Because people will save money for a house purchase because it's closer, isn't it? Pensions for many people are so far away that they forget about them. So the whole point about LISA is it allows you to save for both your home and or your pension. And what it does, it rewards you with a bonus, a government bonus. And what it does, it gives you a government bonus of 25% of the money that you contribute to it. That's free money. Well, it's not actually free, but it's kind of free money. So the maximum bonus you can have, as you can appreciate, is £1,000 per year if you put £4,000 in. So that's pretty good, because that's pensions do that anyway in the form of tax-free for the basic rate. So there's a little bit more going on there as well. You can start them at age 18, as we mentioned before, and under 40 you can have one as well. So they are designed for people for retirement and or to buy your first property. So when can you withdraw the money? When can you take your money? Well, you can take your money, let's get a blue pen for this one, in three situations really. You can withdraw, and I'll put in there withdraw, if you like, when you want to buy your first home. So your first property is a first time buyer property as well, it's not a second hand buyer property. You can also withdraw at age 60 plus. So you can stop contributing at 40, you can take your money at 60 plus because that's for your retirement. So if you haven't bought your home until you rented all your life, then at least you can have your money. You can also have it if you're terminally ill, which is fair play, isn't it, if you think about it quite logically. If you take your money out beyond these conditions, you will pay a penalty and you'll lose your bonus. So that's pretty sensible stuff. Now the home has conditions, of course it does, and I'll kind of squeeze them in. Where have we got some space for the home conditions? I'll kind of squeeze them in around here for you. First of all, there is a property price of $450 or less, so it's not on every particular property. So it's first time buy land really, isn't it? You have to have been saving for 12 months. Yeah, you have to be saving for 12 months. So you've got to be having this product for a little while before you can use it. The money gets paid straight to your lawyer, so you have to have a conveyancer as well. And you do need a mortgage. You do need to be applying for a mortgage. But, most first-time buyers, in my experience, need a mortgage, because that's the whole point, isn't it? If they didn't need a mortgage, then they don't need a LISA, in my book. If mum and dad are paying for the whole property, then they don't need anything, do they? If you've got two people, that counts. You can have two. My stepdaughter Jess and her boyfriend Andy, they're buying a place. They've both got these leases, and they've both got money from them, and they're both putting them into their property. So that's a really good thing. So double it up along the way as well. So for mortgage advisors then, I think our job as mortgage advisors is to educate our population, our customers, on these products, particularly the lifetime ISA. Particularly if you've got an older parent you're dealing with, talk to them about their children investing into these things at an early age. It's good advice, isn't it? I think at the same time we've also got to be available to educate our clients about the first time buyer discounts on stamp duty. We've got to be able to help them with the Help to Buy equity loan information. We need to know about how the government help people to buy houses. I think that's a central piece of knowledge. Mortgage advisors don't tend to give advice on stocks and shares and cash ISAs. That's not where we are. But we need to be aware of them. You can have a stocks and shares interest-only mortgage. That might be something your client might think about. But you can't give advice in that area. But we certainly can give advice around government assistance to buy properties as well. So that's the famous five for you. I always remember the famous five. They always had picnics, didn't they? Always sandwiches and things, but they always used to drink ginger beer. Now, I never drunk ginger beer. I don't know what it tastes like. So everybody wants to let me know, please, to give you an idea what ginger beer tastes like. They always used to have, because they always had posh 50s accents as well. Oh, George, they'd say, let's go and have a picnic. They all spoke like that. But I think that was because it was the 50s and 60s. And anybody that broadcasted then had posh accents, BBC voices as they call them. So then we have the famous five. I hope that's been useful for you. Bye. There you go. Did you like that one, did you? Quite a big update, that one for you. Quite a big update, that one for you, on ISAs, which hopefully has kept you fully appraised of what's going on, keep you all up to date on that topic. Just want to finish off really with a final thought for you, particularly those of you that are selling or advising or getting involved in running a business. And you've got to bear in mind the fact is that you do need to run a business, whether you're employed, self-employed. You have to run a business. You have to have a business mind. A lot of people think that you learn your CMAP and you get all technically good, pass lots of dip maps and dip FAs and stuff like that, and people will flock to you. They won't. You need to be aware of that. You need to have some commercial acumen. So I want to talk about September and sunshine. I call this one September. There we go, sunshine. Now, quite relevant really, because we are in September, early September of course now. And I love September. I think September's a great month because you have lots of things going on. I've got 3 children who have birthdays in September, so it's good fun all round, isn't it? And I love the fact that you get an Indian summer sometimes with sunshine and warmth as well. And yesterday we went into Pittville Park for a coffee. The sun was shining, and it was a beautiful weekend, and everybody was very, very happy. And that's the point. That's the point I'm making here, because in September you don't expect sunshine, but when you get it, you love it more. Because if you compare to June and July you should get sunshine. It's expected, isn't it? Because it's summer, and therefore when it turns up, you're happy, but you're not joyful. But in September, when you get sunshine, and also early October, you're over the moon because it's not expected. And that's the principle. When you're advising running a business, use that principle to your advantage. So how do you do that? There's a couple of things you can do. You've probably heard the adage to under promise and over deliver. You have to think that one through sometimes, don't you? Under promise, there you go, and then over deliver. Can be a little bit careful with that one. But what I'm talking about here is when you promise things to customers and clients, don't promise the earth, because sometimes you don't match up to that, and when you do match up to it, the customer thinks, well, that's fair enough because that's what they promised. So in June, July, for example, sunshine is promised, and when it turns up, it's okay. In September, it's not promised at all. When it turns up, we love it. That's the issue here, isn't it? So, if you're giving timelines, for example, time zones for mortgage offers, give a little bit extra few days on it, and when it turns up early, they're over the moon, aren't they? Because you've under promised and over delivered effectively as well. Don't be tempted to promise the earth to get business. Be careful of that one. Don't accept every piece of business either, because that's not a good track to have, really, accepting every single piece of business. You want to be a bit careful with that as well. With fees and things, you're estimating the fees for solicitors, for example, then slightly overestimate them so that when the bill comes in, it's slightly less. These things all help. You could work on the principle of scarcity as well, but we've talked about that many times before. So be more selective with your appointments. Don't always have appointments available for your clients. That's always another way of under-promising and over-delivering effectively as well. Online communications, of course, allow you to do appointments anytime you want to. So when the customer says, when are you available? Say, well, I'm available most of the time, but I've got lots of business going on at the moment. So don't be too eager to please all the time. And if they say to you, when you see me, well, the next couple of weeks, I could certainly look at seeing you. And if they commit to it, so well, actually, I could see you later this week. Actually, just had an opening come up in my diary. Again, you're under promising, over delivering. It's just the whole concept really, which makes a lot of sense, isn't it? Now I hope the sunshine continues. We're off down to Cornwall for a week in October, early October, which will be lovely. And if the sun shines, it's a bonus, remember, and I shall make the most of that. I don't expect the sun to shine. I expect it to be pouring with rain in October in Cornwall. But if the sun does shine, I'll be very, very pleased. Remember to under promise, over deliver. Don't overdo that, of course, but don't, when you're setting up in business, try and promise too much. Then you have to hold yourself to that. So be wary of sunshine in September. That's been useful. Bye. There you go. Hope you enjoyed that. Okay, we've run off for 25 minutes on our live stream today. Hope you found this one of use to you. We appear, of course, every week on this one as well. So log in to the podcast or to the video live stream itself. If you've got questions, always ping me as well. Advisor CPD is the website where you can log on to all of our systems if you want to. Get on our database and we'll keep you informed of things. We've got a new boot camp starting on the 14th of September. On Monday the 14th of September, with the intention of getting all these people through their CMAPs completely by the end of the year. So that's the plan. We give you loads of support. We're pretty much unrivaled on it actually in the marketplace for this, and I mean that. That's not under promising and over delivering. It's absolutely true. People are passing it. The system's really working, and I'm really pleased with the way it's panned out over the last few years and on into next year as well. Yeah, I'm waffling, so I'm going to say goodbye. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week.